Freilich Chanukah. Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We are holding today in Daf Tzadik Vov, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And we got to the one line before the wide line that's like with base. What did the Gemara get to? What did the Gemara say? The Gemara said, you should know that when you have an oven, there is a way to be machshir the oven. This is what the whole discussion was. Can you be machshir oven or not? Says the Gemara, you could be machshir oven. That is a tiyuto of Rabba Bar Eloi. Says the Gemara, Amule Avinu Avashi. The Chibahaka the Isus of Rabba Eloi. And now that we shlogged up Rabba Eloi, we said you can be machshir oven. And my Omar there's a Pesach Yishav. Why do we say have to break the plates or pots of Pesach? Why? You can be machshir. Answer is no. The only thing you can be machshir is only metal, not clay. And we're talking about here the pots made out of clay. That's answer number one. If I say another reason. Even if you have an oven made out of clay and you want to burn it, you want to machshir it, it's very easy to machshir because you have fire in the oven. So the fire in the oven is machshir the oven. When you have a pot, how do you machshir the pot? You put the fire below it, not machshir in it. So that's why pot is not good enough. By the oven, you can actually machshir putting the fire by heating it up inside. But the clearly you're not heating it inside, that it doesn't machshir so much. So okay, so let's do it inside. Make sure to put the fire in the kli. So he's afraid that maybe it's going to break. Hai kuvyo is siko mibachutzu ve'oser. Kuvyo Rashi is a ofim. It means it's like a roof, the shingles on the roof. And people, it looks like a ofim. You heat on it, but the way you heat it, there's no place to put the fire inside because it's like a grill. So the hesek goes outside. Also, you can be machshir. Something with that seivon with aleph, like deirish l'migdosh. So why do we say that the kelim is English made out of clay? You have to break them. Now, why don't you put it back into the kivsha? Meaning you will put back into the big fires that create the clay and just redo it. The reason is we don't create these big fires in Yerushalayim. You're right. In theory, you could do it, but we don't have these factories in Yerushalayim. I don't understand. So what's the solution? You'll break the clay. Where you put the clay? On the floor of Beis HaMikdash. On the floor of Beis HaMikdash. But then you're making garbage in Beis HaMikdash. Is that better? He forgot, or he didn't realize what is brought down in the Braiso. Shmaya said this Braiso in the city called Kal Nebu. One of the Nisim Beis HaMikdash was the broken shreds of clay were swallowed in its place, so they didn't make garbages. We said before that the oven was made out of metal. Now you just said you can machshir even a cheres by putting the fire inside. I'll tell you why. The bread of Beis HaMikdash, the 2 breads you bring in Shavuos, and the 12 breads you bring every Shabbos, you have to bake them in the oven. And they make the Kedusha when they're in the oven. You know why we're making it out of metal? Not because you have to break them. You're right, you don't have to break them. There's a way to mash them. The reason why we make them out of the metal because they need to be klisharis for the bread. Klisharis, you don't make it out of cheres. It's not proper. You have to do something a little more fitting, better kli. Says the Gemara with Daf Tzayvol base. I feel like Yosi, but really look all my dates. He says you can make it out of wood. Talk about the menorah there. Actually, speak about the menorah. Was the menorah made out? They wanted to say they made out of wood. But the cheres fly, cheres not. Reason why Yehuda by the way he says about chashmonaim, the menorah the chashmonaim used was made out of wood. That's what he says over there. Reason why Yehuda he was always going in front of Ari Mechama. That was the shiur he went to. Shaf gave the Ozi Lev Sheshes. He decided to change the Rebbe. He went to new Rebbe, Sheshes. One day, Rabbi Macham meets Rav Yitzchak ben Yehuda. Amalei al kafto naktan reicho. This is like an expression that people get close to they like to be next to people that are important. Why? Because they have, so to speak, it's an expression. You go next to al kafto. Kafto is the viceroy. He's important in royalty. You go next to him, nak reicho asil liyad. The smell will come to your hand. Meaning, just by being next to a celebrity, you will have a good smell. In other words, why are you eager to be next to a celebrity? You think you can get the smell of him to you? It won't do for you anything. So he told them, he said, you want to go to Yeshiva because it's so chashuv. You think you'll become a Yeshiva? You left my shir because you think that's how you'll get close. I mean, you did it because of gaiva? That's not the reason. When I asked a question to you, Rebbe, you told me an answer based on svar. But once I found the brayso that says against you, so he shrugged up his svar. So whatever I learned by you, I couldn't retain it because every time I found a problem, it was out. But Sheshes, when I asked him a question, so he gave me an answer from Mastiso. Rashi, it brings that the Sheshes, the Mishnayos, was doers by him. He knew it very well. So, it's a Mishnah against a Mishnah. It's not a problem. In other words, say, you know why I like to learn my Sheshes not by you? You say Givaldik Asvaras. But if I find something against it, it's over. For Sheshes, he gives me a mocker. So you can't do anything against it. So you know what? So that's your problem with me? Ask me a question. I'll give you a mastis to answer it. So that goes back to the sugya. If he cooked only part of the kli, the meriko shtifa, which we'll address in a moment what it is, but that's the way to clean the kli, to take the absorption. What happens if you did only part of the kli? Do you have to do the meriko shtifa on the entire kli or not? He said, no, after you clean only that place, not the entire kli. Then we learn regarding the beged. The what? When you have a clothing and you have blood that spritz on the clothing, so the din is that the clothing, you have to do, you clean only that part that got the blood, not the entire clothing. Says the Gemara, where's your brisa? Give me a brisa as a source. Only mistabro. That makes sense. Kebeged, like clothing. Ma beged denoton kivus. Elamokam adam. I'm clean with Torah Kishtif Elamokam Vishu. You just do the place where it was affected. Only midami. Damu Fafeh, Bishu Afeh, how can you compare it to? Blood doesn't spread. You have blood in one place of the beged, it doesn't go to another place. But the bishu, when you cook in one place, it goes to another place. For Tanya, in addition, we have a brayso. Finish a brayso. Brayso says that the azor is more chomer, azor of the beged is more chomer than the meriko shtifa. And now they have the meriko shtifa on the kli, it's more chomer than the azor. Chomer b'azor she'azor yeshna b'chatoyes achitzonius u'b'chatoyes aprivius. Hazor you have when it goes in the beged. We saw it before. It's in the Mishnah. It doesn't have the chazah priu, chazah chitzonis. And it could be also before zriko. It doesn't have to be edible. Meriko shtifa is only things that are edible. So chatoyes prius that you don't eat, there's no meriko shtifa. And if you did before zriko, there's no meriko shtifa. Meriko shtifa is all kachim. And bishum it's a kli to meriko shtifa kodli. You did part of it, you did the whole thing. Mashaken ba'azol, that doesn't work with chukalim, and it's only bechatos, and we do part of the beged, you have to do the whole beged. So you see if there's a brayso against you. If it's a brayso, what can I do? What's the source of makron being clean and chosh busholo, vafilu mixes kli. Even bekli chosh, even a small part of the kli, it requires meriko shtifa on the entire kli. So just one thing came out of the brayso from the story. He said, I don't like that. I ask you questions. You give me a svar. I find a brace against it. That's exactly what happened over here as well. If it falls in the kli, you have to break it. All the truma also needs it. Only kosher kadosh, not kosher kalim. Dechtiv kodesh kadosh. Kosher kadosh mean kosher kalim loy. My time is there, Abuda. What? Why does Abuda disagree? The fact you need oyster, tell me the truma doesn't need it. Because kosher kalim is at a higher level than truma. We learned it earlier. He does. We said Rashi brings over here that we saw earlier. What was it? We saw before. Oyster share of lepsula, right? Not share of lepsula. That's what we learned before, and that's how you learn shasa kosher, not shasa kosher. That's what we said before. That's it, and that's why I don't need the pasuk for that. So I don't have a pasuk for truma. So you may I don't hold kosher kalim are included. So more of a truma you don't need to wash. In other words, you don't have to do hag'ala for truma in order to allow to use it for regular food. So if you cook meat, you're not allowed to put milk into it. You're not allowed to cook it, milk it. If you did do, you have to do neisatav to be batal b'shishin. Truma, you're not allowed to cook chulim the same to clean. If you do neisatav. So you see that truma does require hag'ala. We said before, when you do bishul and part of the kli, if you do yeshiva the whole kli, that's only by kosher, not by truma. That's answer number one. But truma, you don't have to do hagala of the whole kli. You do hagala only of the place where it touched the truma. We said you have to use water to do hagala, not wine. But mazuk is half wine, half water. Truma for the biyayin for the mazuk. You can do other things too. We said before miriko v'shtifa b'tzoyin. Miriko v'shtifa b'tzoyin, which means the way Rashi answers explains like this: you have to do hagala. You have something a problem. You have to do hagala's kelim. But when you speak about kachim, in addition to hagala's kelim, you have to wash it inside and outside with cold water. Here, I just do hot water. I'm good. So and that's what it means. You wash it inside and outside with cold water. It says that you do hot water and then you do cold water. And the hot water, as Rashi say, that's the hagala. Michael Meimar. So what's the difference between truma and kachim? Answers the Gemara. Shtifa yisireso. The extra shtifa, meaning the actual words. What's miriko v'shtifa? So either, there's two ways to understand miriko v'shtifa. Either it means you do hot water and then you have to rinse it with cold water inside and outside. That's special by kachim, not by truma. Or hagala is miriko. Miriko is hagala. You put it into hot water. But by kachim, you have an additional thing called shtifa. You have to wash it with cold water. And by truma, you don't need to. You do only miriko, which is hagala. That's what it says. All these Yisurim all have hagala's kelim. Shalim is you have to have to wash it as well or not. Toys puts out over here. You see from here clearly that when you do hagala's kelim, all you have to do is to do the clean hot water, and that's it. You don't have to put it in cold water because cold water is only by kachim. You have to put cold water afterwards. But he says the minhag of Amisos when you do hagala's kelim, you have if you have a day, you have two big pots: a pot of boiling water, a pot of cold water. Take the clay into the boiling water, and then you take it out, put it into cold water, because you want the minhag is to do cold water as well, even though it's not required. That's what Toys points out over here. So go stop over here, and we'll continue from the Mishnah Be'ez Hashem on Shabbos.